We would like to start the presentation of our project with a self-presentation and tell a little about ourselves. We are students of Kharkiv State Academy of Design and Arts. At the moment, we have experience with working on realization of real project, participated in a lot of competitive projects. Since we're native of Kharkiv, the topic of our research has become for us something more than just a question worth discussing. Kharkiv courtyards are not just significant part of the city territory, but also place the significant part of everyday life of citizens used to take place. Today we present the result of analysis. We have chosen a site in central part of Kharkiv. It is here that residents of the district and users of this space in general face a number of problems and discomforts, which will be discussed below. In this study, we analyze the city's courtyards as public space and through passages as alternative transit roads that provide comfortable ways of movement and space for public pastime for citizens.
The chosen site reflects the typical character of the central part of the city, where long or arranged in row buildings, erected along the roads, form large interior spaces. In Kharkiv, similar inner spaces are known as Koznaki, which translates to drafty. There are unique thought courtyards in the city center created during the perimeter development of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. They let pedestrians take shortcuts between streets and even cross entire blocks. Besides serving as transitory routes, Koznaki also function as public spaces, offering recreational areas and playgrounds. However, while some courtyards are well maintained, others are neglected. In some cases, access is restricted by gates or barriers.
Now on the screen, you will see a small part of our journey through the courtyards in the unanalyzed era. The transformation of public urban space started when the city began leasing residential building basements for private use. To create separate streets entrance, sidewalks were narrowed. This was explained as a way to give neglected basements responsible owners. Small cars replaced community stores, reducing public and green spaces. Later, ground floor apartment owners joining, turning their homes into buildings, into business, adding private entrance and fencing off yard areas for their own use.
The area is filled with many 3-4-story buildings or extensions to existing ones. Shops in the second row of the building are replaced by cafes. Small kiosks disappear, making way for 2-story permanent structures. During this time, thought pedestrian routes across neighborhoods vanish completely. All institution territories remain undeveloped, but even these are fenced off public spaces. The inner spaces of neighborhoods become divided and fragmented. And now you can see with your own eyes the result of all these actions. We had to overcome a lot of obstacles along the way. Sometimes the gates were open, showing that they were not needed. And sometimes we had to interrupt the video recording and go around from the other side to continue our way. We came across gates, guards, rows, and outbuildings blocking. You could also see the heating duct that we had to climb over. And we will come back to the solution of improvement and resumption of this yard in the second part of our presentation.
And now we will talk a little about the reasons for assigning the territories, and it will the desire for privacy and security. Courtyards that were once open are now being turned into private parking lots for residents, often without any additional features. The busier the street and the more commercial activity there is, the more rich the defensive structures become. The desire to maintain the yard's appearance and clean lines. This could be effective, but no clean link has been found between closed courtyard and improved yard condition. And third, it's human selfishness in desire to get private sector when buying just an apartment. Residents of ground floor apartment often claim parts of courtyard for themselves, building extensions and fencing off areas around their homes. These changes are often used to create extra rooms or private spaces.
Thus, we can clearly see how the previously open free space becomes inaccessible due to numerous lines of garages fenced-in pieces of land for field garaging and one-story additional to existing buildings. These diagrams illustrate how garages are built in the yard, passageways, and driveways, and then fences are built between the garages to enclose the passageway. So instead of a single yard, we have 3 or more small entrances. Thus, any function of courtyard is lost, which is very detrimental to the life of the citizen. After all, interior spaces are a significant part of the city.
Kharkiv skvozняки have the potential to be more than just spaces. They could become a key city attraction while addressing residents' needs. These courtyards could relieve public transportation and provide well-equipped areas for those who live nearby. The unanalyzed courtyards have great potential with majestic arcs that are so characteristic for the central historical buildings, with beautiful graphics by popular urban street artists such as Hamlet Zinkovsky. Examples of his work we can see on the screen right now. Characteristically, all of his works are located exclusively on gates, arcs, and courtyard walls. Which these unique features, Kharkiv's courtyards could be transformed into modern multifunctional space that will be favorable, emphasize the uniqueness of the city. And based on the information we received, we came up with the idea of a pedestrian road which will be passed through the territory of 5 yards and connect creative spaces as the Literary Museum, Kharkiv State Academy of Design and Arts, Art Museum, Municipal Gallery, and an art studio. The design of the road through yards includes arrangement of these territories, in particular in the creation of recreation areas or open exhibition grounds. This solution is just a local intervention in exciting structure.
The detailed analysis shows a graduation of openings of courtyards. Moving away from the city center, courtyards become more and more open and have fewer enclosing structures. It can be seen that the concentration of commerce and the activity of clusters of people provoke residents to look for ways to protect their privacy. This is manifested in the illustration of physical barriers, such as barriers or gates to restrict the entry of cars. Continuing the detailed analysis, it turns out that most of the buildings with their proposals are residential, but on the first floor there is commerce, a large number of educational institutions and public buildings. Their location is also subject to the gradation of openings of yards.
The selected research area is diverse in its building typology, offering opportunities to study contrast and unique features of various courtyard types. The presence of cultural and educational institutions contributes to space of social activity and establishes significant transit routes between them. Additionally, the area includes historic buildings, providing a chance to preserve and explore the unique cultural context and the influence of history on development of modern courtyards. And now we can actually see how much the available space in the selected yards has decreased over time and the change we have described.
However, according to the cadastral map, only a smaller part of the territories is officially privatized. The main emphasis of this scheme is white spots, public territories, which unfortunately do not coincide with reality and are unofficially privatized and fenced.
And to understand and prioritize user needs, we conducted a social survey to explore how residents in central Kharkiv feel about redeveloping courtyards. The results shows a link between age and attitude toward change. Young people are more supportive of modern solutions that meet current needs. It's also important to note that the ongoing military situation affects both the number of respondents and their opinion, which should be considered when analyzing the result.
Based on our research, we have identified the following key priorities for reorganizing this space. Most courtyards still allow pedestrian access, but have lost their original layouts, making thought movement impossible. Vertical access is minimized to prevent chaotic parking. However, gates with restricted keys and randomly placed garages block critical services like fire trucks and emergency vehicles. Public comfort. Garages take up a large part of the courtyard space, disrupting transitory use and limiting the development of building amenities such as playgrounds, sport facilities, and recreational areas. Restoration of urban structure, prioritizing provides safety by zoning and improving existing space without adding barriers to accessibility, using spatial design to influence behavior positively.
During the study, we analyzed wind flows at the selected site and studied the level of insulation. These aspects are critical to understanding microclimate condition of this space, which affects the comfort of residents. And as we walked along our roads, we took detailed photos, identified key issues in each courtyard, and developed basic improvement proposals. Based on our analysis, surveys, and observation, we found that residents lack greenery, landscaping, and recreation areas. The courtyards also feature high concentration of street art. As problem, there is no good structure. The space of yard has lack of landscaping and cuts of garage buildings.
The second yard showed us a similar situation. Residents lack landscaping and activities inside the yard. There is no access to existing green zones and an active playground. Most of the space is occupied by garage buildings. The third courtyard is the project has few residents and no dedicated space from them, but it holds great potential due to a previously functional park. Problems: no access to existing green area and no seating areas or playgrounds.
Girls, we don't hear you. You're muted. Girls, we don't hear you. You're muted.
Дівчата, ми вас не чуємо. У вас виключений мікрофон.
Вибачте, а коли ви перестали нас чути?
Це вже чутно.
Давай ты свою начнешь.
Yeah. The fifth courtyard doesn't have any unique issues but shares common challenges. Lack landscaping, recreation space, and activities. Most of the area is taken up by garage structures. Numerous unnecessary fences fragment the space. These fences serve no real purpose. They can easily be bypassed.
After detailed analysis of each of the yards, we returned to the yard with the highest potential for our global project proposal. During the sketching and idea exploring phase, we focused on the priorities and context of the courtyard. The main goal was to design a comfortable, multifunctional space that serves different users, balances natural and urban elements, and encourage social interaction among residents.
A significant part of the park is allocated for landscaping. It's planned to fully preserve the exciting trees and add shrubs and perennial herbaceous plants. that will create shaded areas, improve the microclimate, and reduce noise.
The park is divided into two main zones: active recreation, where modern sports, grounds, and outdoor exercise equipment are provided, and relaxation area, which includes benches, areas with sun loungers, and quiet corners for reading or walking with gadgets. The park has a children's area with different types of activities for different age groups.
The main park alley acts as central path of the square, neatly separating the active and quiet areas. It connects the courtyard to one of nearby streets, offering a convenient road for residents and visitors. This path also shortened the walk for residents from the courtyard to the nearest metro station shelter, which is very important in a war situation. The square will provide a comfortable and welcoming space for residents for all ages to be active, relax, or simply enjoy nature in the city. The well-planned plain zoning and squares integration into courtyards will help it blend smoothly into daily life of the neighborhoods. And finally, it's important to note that the realization of this project could not only show the citizens as alternative view of Kharkiv yards, but also to start a global change. First of all, change in our heads, in our mentality. With our project, we will be able to clearly demonstrate that open landscape and space are not inferior to fenced-in empty courtyard areas.
My presentation is residential area for internally displaced people. And I would like to start with explaining my concept, how it will be easier go through my presentation in future. So the main idea was to ask the right question. And here's my big four. It's who, why, where, and how. Through these questions, it was easier for me to find the right solution for this uneasy task. And I think it's easier to explain why I choose some of my architecture design. So first of all, it's who. My name is Chumachok. I'm an architecture student from Donbas National Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture. Here I have some contact info and my photo. The second question was why. So it's kind of personal because I'm an internally displaced person, and the tragedy of lost youth, the silent burn of peaceful days, it's unforgivable. And of course, war leaves terrible scars in our bodies and souls. But as a professional one, as a future professional one, isn't this bring more sparkle inside us to do more creativity and find the right solution for future peaceful to the realm? So the third question was where, and it was hard to find the right place, but I chose Barashivka. It's near Kiev, it's in Kiev region. And why this area was most suitable for my project? I have two reasons. First, it's an hour drive from the capital, and for me, I think it's a huge opportunity for displaced people to start, to make a new start, to find a new jobs, to find a new person to be friends with, so to fit in society. And the second reason why I choose this area is because the closeness, not closeness to border with Belarus and Russia. So it's quite peaceful place, it's near to the capital, and it's perfect, I think, area to make a new life. Could I say this? So I want to show you territory details. I choose a small plot of 50 hectares for my district. The territory was a flat surface. Around project, you can see existing building, their temporary house, and white, oh, not white, blue. I show you a small product facilities, and you can see a situation around my area that I will bring on. The fourth question is how. And this quite tough for me was because at some point I decided to deep down in urban design and thinking about streets, how I want to see them as a displaced person, where I want to walk, where I want to buy new stuff, when I want to see new friends. And architecture, it's quite simple there, but it's enough for this project. Here you see a general plan. This is a the model of my neighborhood. Houses present connection, internal passages, and recreation. And also here I show a kindergarten area with this blue, the most bluish one in this image. And you can see here in the middle is a recreation area where you can buy laundry, you can do laundries or meet your friends. So it's like a social area where you can walk with your children without any cars. Also, I was planning to build a school, but according to calculation, it could not fit to the size. So the decision was to make a transport connection to the existing school in the city. Also, I include an analysis. This is sunrise cards of July and to December, how it's looked December. December is quite dark, but for July it's perfect. Let's take a closer look to our planning details. The main idea was to create transition between yards, as we said before, with the great recreation. Guest parking lots are located outside of the yard, and parking for residential, it's located it's underground. I didn't show an underground parking, but here in this picture you can see how yard was constructed. So it's in yellow, it's just walking sides. A little bluish, it's green sides and a parking lot outside of our yard. Floor plan, as I say also before, it's quite simple because at some point I wanted to do a bionic form to the urban solutions. So where it would be considered to walk and meet friends and, as I say, buy groceries. But I decided to not give up, but do a wish and try to regenerate my architecture outside because of the floor plan was quite simple. And this is my facades of the building. The first one and the second one. Here you can see that some of my building have shops at first floor. So these buildings are up to one floor because of this idea to make some social place for shops and magazines. And here is my visualization, final visualization, where my urban designs and architecture combine and fuse together. And you can see, as my point of view, is quite comfortable and suitable for displaced person. Yeah, that's all. thank you for your attention. And here is last site where I include my programs that I choose and my thanks to my teacher and organizations. Thank you.
National Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture. I'm glad to see you all. I want to present you my project of a neighborhood for internally displaced persons in the city of Trostianets. First, I want to tell you a little more about myself. I have been studying architecture for 12 years. Now I work as an architect in a design and architecture studio. About the location. Trostianets is a city in Ukraine in the Ochtyrka district of Sumy region, 35 kilometers from the border with Russia. In 2022, Trostianets had a population of less than 20,000. From the first day of the full-scale invasion, the city was occupied for more than a month, resulting in a humanitarian catastrophe. The city was heavily damaged by the hostilities. According to the mayor of the city, Grigorova, the occupation and hostilities have set the city back in development for about 10 years. The IDP district is my course project. Our academy was approached by Metinvest to provide our vision of the Steel Dream concept for the country's recovery. As part of the project, we were offered 3 locations, but I chose Trostianets. The territory for the neighborhood design is located 7 minutes from the city center and has a relief that forms a natural drainage system in the form of a stream. This is a large plot of land with an area of 51 hectares. The project provides housing for 4,600 residents. In the functional zoning of the site, I started from the natural drainage system to preserve it and organize a city park around it. The site is functionally divided into 2 neighborhoods, which are united by a park. Both neighborhoods have different types of housing. It's apartments, townhouses, and private houses. On the ground floor, on the residential sections, there are commercial premises, shops, cafes, bank, pharmacy, etc. There are also some commercial buildings located near the main streets. In the northeast, the territory has a sanitary protection zone, which is used as a recreation area that turns into a central park. 6 bus stops are planned around the site. Now I want to tell you more specifically about each type of housing and their features. I'll start with sectional houses. The shape of the section is not accidental. I was looking for a shape that would satisfy me for a long time, because I wanted to make something unique that I hadn't seen before. Finally, when I got this option, I fell in love with it. The image I found is very symbolic for this project. Each residential section resembles a flower, a symbol of life that blooms even after a winter of destruction. These flowers intercombined into a single structure, like petals that together form a holistic harmony. This architectural concept carries the idea of mutual support. People, like flowers, become stronger when they grow together. Initially, I planned that each floor would be slightly offset around its axis. But when I analyzed the resulting shape thanks to the Autodesk format, I realized that this shape wouldn't have enough natural light. so I choose the most optimal option. After analyzing the weaknesses, I use them to improve the project. For example, in the darkest corner of the section, I designed a passage for a fire truck. And those apartments that didn't have enough natural light become 3-room apartments with windows on both sides of the buildings. Their main advantage is that dual-use premises are designed underground. It can be a cinema which can be used as shelter in case of a missile attack or air raid. A parking lot is also designed underground. The entrance with vertical communication has 3 entrances at the ground floor. Each section is fully inclusive. There are no barriers at the entrance, and the elevator allows unimpeded access to all floors, including the underground. Commercial premises are designed on this floor, which are located to the front of the buildings, where the highest traffic is observed. Different types of apartments ranging from 30 to 120 square meters have also been designed. An additional feature is the land plots adjacent to the apartments of the ground floor. The owners of these apartments will have the opportunity to grow crops there and put up outdoor furniture. The courtyard is free of cars. It is to become a safe space with playgrounds, sport grounds, and recreation areas. Each apartment consists of modular blocks that are combined into one solid building. The next type of housing is townhouses, which have parking lots separately from the road. There is a pedestrian and bicycle connection between the townhouses, which seamlessly merges into the city park. And the last type of housing is private houses. It was also important for me to connect the school and kindergarten areas to the park. I managed to design the neighborhood in such a way that children living in townhouses didn't have to cross the road on their way to school. The school is designed for 560 students and has the ability to use its premises outside of school hours. The school is equipped with all the necessary functions: a library, dining room, assembly hall, etc. A multifunctional culture center is located near the park. That's it. Thanks for your attention. Do you have any questions?